You wrote this article. It's about the good, the bad, the ugly of cell phone video. So when we're talking about ugly, man, are we talking about like presidential debate level ugly?
Yeah, hopefully not that ugly. I mean, you'd have to try really hard to get that ugly in front of the camera.
So let's jump into the good, okay?
Yeah,
so
okay.
Before
Great.
you start shooting, you talk about focusing first on the story you're trying to create, and almost just start with the end in mind type approach. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like the most important thing when structuring a video or when you're thinking about what to shoot, you gotta focus on the story. Because at the end of the day, if you can have all the budget in the world, you can be like Star Wars Disney level budget and still make a bad movie, which has happened. You know, the new Star Wars movies, I feel like personally they don't hold up as well as the originals, which were a fraction of the budget. So really the story is what matters, and the story is what's going to have that lasting effect. Like no one's going to remember a bad story.
Yeah.
So if you focus on that, you really can't fail. Like Napoleon Dynamite, that movie had next to no budget, but everybody's seen it, everybody quotes it, and it's like part of pop culture for the rest of history now. They focus on the story, found something that people can relate to, that everybody can identify with. You know, the struggle of going through high school in a small town. A lot of people get that. It connects with people.
Yeah.
So story is everything.
Yeah. You talk about your, is it Gamal, Gmal?
My Gma, my grandma. I just Gma.
It sounds gangster.
It had a better roll to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never call her that.
Oh,
I thought
really?
It sounded better in
Oh
writing.
my gosh. I was like, it's just like very, endearing, term of affection. Like it's Gmal, which I think sounds gangster, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you talk about her handcrafted birthday cards.
Yeah. So yeah, every year my grandma sends a birthday card. Like she handcrafts it. She's like in a stamp club or whatever, grandmas do.
Okay.
So she's in a stamp club, and so, every holiday, every birthday, she sends these cards, but the problem is that she never sends them to the right address. She never stays up to date. I call her, I tell her the address, she never follows it. So the way that kind of ties in is like if you're planning a video and you're focusing all your attention on the content you're creating but not focusing on reaching your audience, it's not worth it. You're not going to hit it. It's not going to land with anyone.
Yeah.
So you really got to think, that's another step, is you got to think, okay, not only where is this going to live, but who's going to watch this?
When it comes to lighting, especially on a cell phone, what are some easy tips to just kind of hack that and think through it?
Absolutely. And lighting, I can't stress how important lighting is.
Yeah. Lighting
is so important. People think like, oh, why does my video not look as good as, these influencers I follow? 90% of the time it's because they understand how lighting works.
Yeah.
There's some simple steps that make it easy. So the one that's awesome, if you're shooting outside, always try to hit golden hour. It's the hour right after the sun rises and the hour right before the sun sets.
Yep.
And what that does is it creates like a really soft kind of like orange, like when you're driving at night and you see like the sun setting, you see the sky, it looks beautiful. It just creates a softer light. Everything's a little more diffused. It's not going to look as harsh. Like if you're shooting in mid daylight outside, you're going to have these harsh shadows by your eyes, by your nose, and it's just going to look unflattering. Plan your shoots around that. Plan your shoots in the morning or in the evening. It takes a little extra work to get up, but it's worth it.
In this piece, you talk about momentum with your video. What does that mean?
So when I talk about momentum, I'm really talking about almost like your cadence, the way you're delivering your message. So you really want to avoid lulls. People's attention spans are everybody talks about this. It's almost cliche to talk about now, attention spans.
Yep.
They're short, we get it. But it's true, so having any lulls, or if you're working on a speech, practice a couple times. Make sure you got what you're gonna say down. At least give it a couple practice rounds. It's always gonna help. If you have a lull, or if you slow down, or if that momentum slows, people are gonna swipe to the next video. People don't want to sit here and listen to you figure things out. Have it figured out before you get there.
Yeah. The other side of that too is the last point here under the good is having fun with it, because at the same time though, you don't want to get so concerned that you're running through the script perfectly that we have this experience with when people just turn into robots.
Yes.
Right? Why does that happen?
Yeah, you got to avoid that. We work in the dental world, right? So a lot of type A personalities.
Yeah.
And when, you send someone a script, their, general inclination is to just study it, memorize it, make sure it's perfect. We don't really want that, because that doesn't sound human at all. That sounds, like you said, a robot. You don't want to sound like you're talking in binary. You really want to, bring a little bit of personality in it, because if you don't sound passionate about what you're talking about on video, then why would you expect like me, your audience, or whoever you're talking to even care if you don't even care?